Welcome back to Chicago Independent Television. Next, we go to Benton Harbor, Michigan, where a rebellion against police brutality transpired in the summer of 2003. We join the march to St. Joseph.
Hey, hey, ho, ho! Police brutality has got to go! Hey, hey, ho, ho! Police brutality has got to go! Hey, hey, ho, ho! Police brutality has got to go! Hey, hey, ho, ho! Police brutality has got to go! Hey, hey, ho, ho! Police brutality has got to go!
Well, basically what happened today was the organization, the Southwest Michigan Coalition Against Police Brutality, also the Banco organization, of which is headed by Reverend Pinckney here, and our organization, the Detroit Coalition Against Police Brutality, organized with people from Chicago, from people from Cleveland, far away as Toronto. The march started in front of police headquarters in Benton Harbor, which was the site, of course, of the recent rebellion on behalf of the citizens of Benton Harbor, where 70% unemployment exists. And over here in the other part of Berrien County, where the county headquarters are, there's 70% employment. And one is white and one is black. And so the march took place, marched across the bridge, where you could visibly see the change as we march down the street from Benton Harbor into St. Joe. And we're marching here to call attention to the fact that we want to get rid of the sheriff here because of his racist attitudes. We want to end this police state, and we want to empower the people of Benton Harbor and get rid of the racism and the economic injustice which has crippled this community for years. This is nothing new. This has gone back for decades. You talk about putting the jail right on the river. When you come in, that's the first thing you see is a symbol of authority. But also, if you look to the left, you see another symbol of reflection, and that's the people that the sheriff works for. You see a marina where you have at least $1 million to $2 million worth of boats, and these boats are owned by the people who are affluent here in this community, and they pay for the sheriff to make sure that they keep this place white and keep blacks under control and continue the oppression that people have had. Many of the African Americans here don't even have lawyers. They're locked up, thrown away. And so when you walk in and you see the Berrien County Sheriff's Department, it's like walking back in the old days and seeing the white knights of the Ku Klux Klan saying, "Don't march in this county." So it's a symbol of oppression. It's a symbol of depression for many people, but also it's a symbol of resurrection for the people who marched across the bridge today. We're going to make sure that this sheriff and this oppression ends.
We marched from downtown Benton Harbor over across the bridge to a place called St. Joseph's. Now, what's so special about this place called St. Joseph's is because there's a big difference in the communities. Now, I've been to Benton Harbor, and I realized that the community is very, very poor. And I also realized that the people are oppressed. And I also realized that the people have been harassed by the police over there in that town. You know, my birthday was I'm born on June the 16th. And I'm looking at the news, and I see the people in the streets protesting, burning, tearing up, rioting, or however, really rebelling against the fact that someone has been killed by another law enforcement agency in this country. Let's not forget the uprising that was in Cincinnati. Let's not forget the uprising that was in St. Louis. Or let's even say, let's not forget the uprising that was in Los Angeles. On the Rodney King beating, people are getting tired of police brutality.
You're watching Chicago Independent Television. Welcome back to Chicago Independent Television. Thousands of media activists converged in Madison, Wisconsin in November 2003 for the Be the Media Conference and the National Conference on Media Reform. Here are a few of the highlights.
Now, I'm here for one purpose only, primarily, introduce someone who affected my life indelibly and that of the community, Bill Moyers. But I feel preacher-like at this moment. This is like a gigantic parish, and I'm offering testimony So during the early days of President Bush's liberation of Iraq, you remember we heard the phrase, embedded journalists. That's what we heard, ubiquitous phrase, embedded journalists. But to my impaired hearing, it came out as in bed with journalists. So you realize a hearing impairment sometimes eliminates euphemisms and offers higher truths.
En el escala hay sangre de 4 obreros. No fueron los anarquistas, que fue el gobierno.
European, South European. So we have a point of view from countries that were under 50 years of communism, and
we are pro-choice.
And press it has been free only for the last 13 years. So after the revolution, after the fall of the wall of Berlin.
Sent me an email and said, hey, do you want to come be involved in this concert tour that's going around speaking out against the corporate consolidation of the media? And I was like, hell yeah. And they signed me up. That was just like 2 weeks ago.
Slogan 2. This is by the Program on International Policy at the University of Maryland, funded by the Ford Foundation. And they did a study on Americans' misperceptions and how they correlated with where they got their information on the war in Iraq. And they tracked 3 misperceptions. First one was that there was proof of a connection between Saddam and Al-Qaeda. The second was that we have found weapons of mass destruction. And the third was that world opinion was in favor of our invasion. Now they found that 80% of the viewers who got their news primarily from the Fox News channel believed at least one of these 3 misperceptions.
Sister, rise up. Sister, rise up. Brother, rise up. Brother, rise up. We must rise up. We must rise up. Rise up right now. Rise up right now. Take the streets. Take the streets. Take our streets. Take our streets. A persistent, consistent vision of me. For a persistent, consistent vision of peace.
Currently, I'm giving an interview to CBS. Cool Bastards of Soccer.
The Anarchist Broadcasting Corporation.
The Anarchist Broadcasting Corporation. ABC.
Yeah, like in a news report.
Yeah. So basically, we're dealing with Go Green. We're dealing with worldwide oppression, and we need to cut through class barriers and race barriers and sex/gender barriers, and we need to quit arguing with each other. Quit picking each other apart.
That's very nice.
Because you know what, I have better things to do than pick apart people that I'm working with. You know, I'd much rather pick apart Bush and make his ass bleed.
The war games, that's what they looked like on TV. At the time, CBS, owned by Westinghouse, General Electric owning NBC, General Electric and Westinghouse, 2 of the major nuclear weapons manufacturers in the world, making most of the parts for most of the weapons in the Persian Gulf War. No wonder it looked like a military hardware show. No, war is blood and gore. And if the media accurately portrayed war, then the people in this country would overwhelmingly be opposed. In fact, leading up to the Persian Gulf War, and then again, 10 years later, leading up to the invasion, most people were opposed. Fairness and Accuracy in Reporting did a study in the week leading up to General Colin Powell giving his push for war at the UN Security Council, and the week after. In that 2-week period, ABC, NBC, CBS, and PBS NewsHour with Jim Lehrer. They did 393 interviews around war. 3 were anti-war voices. 3. This is not media that is providing a forum for a diversity of opinion. This is a media that is beating the drums for war, and it must change.
The Cold War now is over, but the stakes are getting higher. I'm frightened of collateral damage and of friendly fire, and I don't believe we can defeat no axis of evil by putting smart bombs in the hands of dumb people.
I think the unions, have got a huge war chest for the next election. And sadly, all that money is going to be spent on Fox TV, putting adverts on Fox TV, and that's a real disappointment. So, I'd like to see the unions sponsoring concerts, putting on free festivals, bringing young people in to hear conscious artists and speakers, and showing people that unions aren't just about when things get nasty, that unions are actually about a community of people working together. The old message remains the same, is that your capitalism is going to exploit you, and the reason unions are there is to make sure that you exploit your labour on your terms rather than the boss's terms.
You're watching Chicago Independent Television.
If our nation were your kids, would you want a man who had no sense of direction to be the bus driver? Or what if he picked up some friends and gave them a ride, but never took your kids to school? Worse yet, kicked your kids off the bus so he could make room for more of his friends. Would you want this man to be the bus driver? Huh. Where is President Bush driving our nation?
You've been watching Chicago Independent Television, a project of the Chicago Independent Media Center Video Collective. The Independent Media Center is a growing worldwide network of media producers, journalists, citizens, and activists working to put the media in the hands of everyday people and away from corporate and commercial interests. To learn more, visit our website at chicago.indiemedia.org. There you can find out more about upcoming Chicago area events and how to get involved in making your own media, including how to help make this very TV show. Thanks for watching. See you next time.